The linen napkin felt too stiff in my lap. I kept folding it into sharper edges while Megan's dad made a toast about legacy and bloodlines, words that suddenly started to scrape. Across the table, my mum wouldn't meet my eyes. That was the first thing I noticed. The second was Megan's hand, limp in mine. I'll be honest, nothing about that night felt like it was supposed to. Not the soft jazz hum from the restaurant speakers, not the perfectly plated salmon, not the low laughter from the next table over where my cousins were already half drunk, and definitely not the way my stomach dropped when Megan leaned over, mid-toast, and whispered, "So, you really didn't know?" She said it like we were picking between centerpieces, like I was just being difficult, and I just blinked at her. "No what?" I whispered back, half smiling, half sick. She didn't answer. She just gave me this look, wide eyes, thin mouth, like someone who'd been holding their breath too long. And that's when my brain started racing, flipping through every conversation we'd had in the last 24 hours. Nothing stood out, nothing weird. Until the puzzle piece snapped into place, she'd gone to lunch with my mum that afternoon, alone. I'd even thought it was sweet. They were laughing when they came back, kind of awkward, kind of quiet, but I didn't read into it. I'd assumed they were bonding, maybe sharing stories about how messy I am or how I always burn the toast. Now, my fiancée looked like she was watching me bleed out in front of her. My mum, still locked on her wine glass like it was a crystal ball. That's when I knew something was off, like really, irreversibly off. The rest of the dinner moved around me, but I was frozen. I couldn't hear the clinking of silverware anymore, couldn't taste the lemon risotto. I was trying to figure out how to ask the love of my life what the hell she meant without causing a scene. But we were surrounded. Bridal party on one end, both our families mixing like water and oil on the other. I tried to smile. I even raised my glass during the next toast. I don't remember what was said. Something about new chapters and the strength of family. The irony made my throat itch. Finally, dessert came, and I saw my chance. Megan stood to go to the restroom, and I followed her like a shadow. Once we were far enough down the hallway, past the restrooms and toward the little coat alcove, I stopped her. "Hey!" I said, and my voice cracked like a teenager's. She turned, arms crossed. "I thought you knew." "Knew what, Megan?" Her jaw tensed. "Your mum said you were adopted. I didn't want to bring it up like this." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my brain short-circuited. No. That's not true. Why would she say that? She said you found out when you were a teenager. That you don't like to talk about it. Everything inside me went still. "No, Megan, I didn't know. I've never heard that, ever." Now she looked like I'd slapped her. "Wait, are you serious? Do I look like I'm joking?" She didn't answer, just leaned against the wall like she might collapse. "Jesus, James. I thought you'd told me everything." I opened my mouth, closed it again. What could I even say? I'd spent 29 years believing my parents were my biological parents. There was no secret diary entry, no "you're old enough now" talk, no lingering looks or mismatched medical histories. I looked like my dad, people always said. I had my mum's eyes, or so I thought. And now it felt like I was standing on a trap door. We didn't go back to the table. Megan said she had a headache, and I made up some excuse about checking in with the venue. We slipped out the side entrance while someone inside was cutting the cake. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, fully dressed, staring at my phone like it could offer some kind of lifeline. I didn't want to call my mum, not yet. Not until I could figure out if I was overreacting or underreacting. But the thing that kept gnawing at me, what kind of mother tells your fiancé a life-changing secret before telling you? Especially 2 days before your wedding. Around 3:20 a.m., I texted my dad, "Can I call you? Now." He replied 1 minute later, "I was waiting for this, yes." He picked up on the first ring. No hello, just silence. Then, "She told her, didn't she?" I swallowed hard. So it's true? He exhaled through his nose, a sound I'd heard 100 times when he was disappointed, when something painful had to be said. Yes, it's true. No build-up, no denial, no softening the blow. You're not my biological father, I asked. My voice cracked on father. I'm your dad, he said. Always have been. But no, you're not biologically ours. My hands went cold. Why? Why didn't you tell me? There was a pause, not long, just enough for me to fill in the guilt. We were going to, he said, back when you were 16, but then your grandma got sick and your mum said it wasn't the right time. That was 13 years ago. I know. I rubbed my face with both hands, and instead of telling me before my wedding, she tells Megan. Alone. I didn't know she did that until just now, he said. I'm sorry, James. I really am. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just hung up. The next morning, I didn't go to the groomsmen brunch. I didn't text anyone back. I didn't answer Megan's knock on my door, not at first. When I finally let her in, her eyes were red. Mine probably were too. We just sat there. Two people who were supposed to be picking floral arrangements and laughing about place cards. Two people who suddenly had a third person in their relationship now. My past, or the version of it that had been edited, erased and rewritten without my permission. Do you want to postpone? She asked. The question felt like a bullet I wasn't ready to dodge. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't even know who I am right now. She nodded, which was almost worse than if she'd argued. It meant she understood. Or worse. Maybe she agreed. I didn't shower that morning, just brushed my teeth like a robot and changed into jeans that still smelled faintly of laundry detergent. Outside the hotel, people were already clinking mimosas and laughing on the patio like nothing had happened. Like my entire identity hadn't been rearranged in the span of one poorly timed conversation. Megan stayed silent most of the morning. I didn't blame her. Every time she opened her mouth, I saw the way she looked at me last night, like I was someone new. Or worse, someone I couldn't even claim to be anymore. Eventually I muttered, "We should go talk to them." She didn't ask who, she just nodded. We drove to my parents' house. Quiet ride. Windows cracked, the fall breeze sneaking in like it didn't need permission. I watched the trees blur past and tried to remember a single moment in my childhood that now felt off, any hint, any giveaway. But everything felt the same. And yet, didn't. Their driveway was empty. I guess they weren't expecting company, or maybe they were and wanted fewer witnesses. Mum answered the door, still wearing the same navy blouse from the rehearsal dinner, still holding herself like nothing was out of place. But her eyes flicked to Megan and back to me, and for the first time in my life, I noticed a flash of something I couldn't name in her face. James, she said, I was going to call. When? I cut in. She looked over her shoulder, like she might try to stall with tea or a polite hug. Come in. Megan stayed in the foyer. I followed my mum to the kitchen. It smelled like cinnamon. She must have been baking again. Normal, everyday things. Why did you tell her? I asked. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. My mum ran her fingers along the rim of a coffee mug on the counter. She didn't drink from it. I thought she knew, she said. That's not the point. She closed her eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you. You did. Silence again. Then she said, It was never a secret to us, James. You were ours the moment we held you. That doesn't mean you get to rewrite my history. I wasn't rewriting it, she said. I was protecting it. I laughed bitterly. From who? From me. She finally looked me in the eye. From what it would have done to you. You were struggling enough in high school. I thought, if we could just wait until you were more stable. But you never did. She opened her mouth, closed it. Then, I told Megan because I didn't want her to be blindsided. I thought she already knew, and if she didn't, it was better to hear it from me. You thought it was better to tell her than to tell me. I was scared. That stopped me cold. My mum has never used those words, not once. You were scared, I said. You've been running our lives with a steel spine since I was a kid. She sat down slowly at the table. You know what it's like, raising a child who wasn't yours by blood, but was yours in every other way? Every day I worried you'd find out accidentally, that you'd think we didn't love you the same, that you'd feel lesser. I do feel lesser, I said, and my voice cracked before I could stop it. But not because I'm adopted, because you didn't tell me. Dad came in halfway through. Megan was still sitting in the foyer, staring at a picture frame, probably me in a Halloween costume or some school award. He didn't say anything when he saw us, just sat beside my mum and placed his hand over hers. I told him, I said flatly. I figured, he said, voice low. I'm sorry, son. You're not the one I'm angry with. He gave a slow nod. I should have pushed harder to tell you. That made me pause. You wanted to? When you turned 18, I brought it up. She said we should wait. That college was already a huge transition. Then it was your first job. Then Megan. Always something. I looked at my mum again. She was holding back tears. I never wanted you to question how much we loved you, she said. Then you should have trusted me to handle the truth. Later that day, Megan and I sat at a park a few blocks from my parents' house. It was the same park where we took our engagement photos last fall. The same swing set creaked in the wind. The same oak tree still had our initials scratched into the bark, though I couldn't remember doing it. She broke the silence first. Do you want to find them? I knew what she meant. My biological parents. I'd been avoiding the question since last night, not just because I didn't have an answer, but because I wasn't ready for the ones that might come with it. I don't know, I said. I thought I had a complete picture. Now it feels like someone ripped the frame off the wall and handed me a different one. She nodded slowly. We don't have to figure it out today. I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't scared. She wasn't checking out. She was just there. That broke something open in me. Do you still want to marry me? I asked, and I hated how small my voice sounded. Megan didn't flinch. Yes, but only if you still know who you are when you walk down that aisle. I didn't answer, because the truth was, I wasn't sure. That night, I stayed in a different hotel, just needed the space. I told Megan I'd call her in the morning. She nodded and kissed me on the cheek like we were teenagers again, cautious and unsure. I spent the evening digging through old files, opening drawers I'd never thought twice about. I found my baby album, photos from the hospital. My mum, hair pulled back, cradling a newborn. My dad with a dumb grin in a green hoodie that had long since disappeared. But no delivery bracelet, no hospital name, no birth certificate. I stared at those pages for hours. I'd always believed what I saw because they believed it too. Now I wasn't sure what was real and what was arranged for my benefit. At 2:11 a.m., I called my mom. She picked up instantly. James. Who were they? I asked. My birth parents. A pause. Then she said, Your mother's name was Diane. She was 20, in nursing school. Your father, we don't know much about him. She didn't list him. I swallowed. She picked us, I asked. She met us. She liked us. Said she wanted you to have a stable home. She was scared, but kind. You were 6 days old. I tried to picture her, a 20-year-old with a newborn, giving him up to strangers with photo albums and promises. Do you have a picture of her? Yes, my mum said. It's in the safety box. I can give it to you tomorrow. I don't know what comes next. Maybe I'll meet her. Maybe I won't. Maybe Megan and I will still get married on Saturday. Maybe we'll wait. I wouldn't blame her either way. But here's what I do know. Every story has a beginning. I just didn't know mine started a few pages before I ever entered the frame. I picked up the photo the next morning. My mum had it already waiting, sealed in a plain envelope, no label. She didn't hand it to me directly. just left it on the front hallway table, like some kind of peace offering neither of us was ready to talk about out loud. I took it without a word. Back in the car, I turned it over in my lap. Megan was next to me in the driver's seat, hands resting softly on the wheel, like she was giving me the time I needed to open it on my terms. When I did, the picture was simpler than I expected. A young woman, brown eyes, no makeup, hair pulled into a loose ponytail, wearing a green scrub top and holding a newborn swaddled in blue. My nose, her cheekbones. I couldn't tell if it was her expression that looked scared or mine. On the back, my mum had written in small, neat letters, "Diane, age 20, taken the day she signed the papers." I didn't cry, I just stared. "She looks like you," Megan said gently. I nodded. I think I was expecting, I don't know, some big cinematic moment, but it just feels quiet. "That's not a bad thing," she said. We sat like that for a while, engine off, parked at the edge of a quiet lot near the wedding venue. It was the last day before everything was supposed to happen. My suit was already hanging inside the chapel, with a boutonniere I hadn't picked out. The florist was due in 3 hours. Megan's family was already fielding guests at the hotel bar, passing out welcome bags we'd stuffed together just a week ago, me none the wiser. Her brother had texted to ask if I wanted help setting up chairs. I hadn't replied yet. "What do you want to do?" Megan asked me quietly. "About the wedding, I mean." I opened my mouth to answer, but the words didn't come right away. Not because I didn't know, but because I finally did. We got married the next day. No delays, no changes, no special announcement. Just vows, exchanged under a white trellis with fake ivy woven through it, like we'd planned. Because as much as I felt like my life had fractured, split into a before and after I hadn't chosen, I also knew this part of it, this commitment, was something I still believed in, maybe even more so now. At the altar, Megan didn't blink once. Her hands were warm in mine. When she said, "I do," it didn't feel like she was saying it to the confused, overwhelmed version of me from the rehearsal dinner. It felt like she was saying it to all of me, past and future, and I needed that. After the reception, after the toasts and dancing and half-drunk cousins who made bad speeches, I found my mum near the back exit of the venue. She was holding her purse, dabbing at her mascara with a tissue, eyes puffy in a way she couldn't blame on wine. "I'm proud of you," she said, voice a little shaky. I nodded. "Thank you." We stood in silence for a few seconds, the kind that would have felt awkward before, but now felt like shared ground. "I don't hate you," I said quietly, "but it's going to take time." She nodded fast. "I know. I'll give you whatever you need." I looked at her, and for a second, I didn't see the woman who had kept something from me. I saw the woman who drove me to swim lessons, who sat in the ER with me when I broke my collarbone, who ironed my college interview shirt at 2 a.m. because I forgot to. I think she saw me seeing that. That night, in our hotel room, Megan curled up next to me under the too heavy quilt. My tie was still on the floor. Her hair was still pinned back. Neither of us had the energy to care. "I'm not the person I thought I was," I said, staring at the ceiling. "You're more," she whispered, not even pausing. "You're not freaked out?" "Of course I'm freaked out," she said with a small smile, "but not by you. Just by how easy it is to lose something without knowing it." I turned to face her. She added, "But also by how quickly you can find yourself again." A week later, I sent a letter to the last known address on the adoption paperwork. Just a short note, polite, honest, open to contact but not demanding it. I don't know if Diane still lives there or if she wants to hear from me, but I sent it. That feels like enough for now. I'm still figuring out what this all means. Still have moments where I look in the mirror and wonder if the face staring back belongs to someone else. But I also know this. Blood matters, but so does choice, and love, and the people who show up, even when it's uncomfortable, especially then.